Welcome to Unspoken Affairs. In today's video script, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Your support helps us share more powerful and eye-opening stories. My name is Claire, and what I'm about to share is not easy. It isn't just a story, it's a confession. A confession about the moment I crossed a line so sharp, so irreversible that my life has never been the same. I was 38 years old when it happened, and on the surface, I lived the kind of life that many might envy. I was the wife of Daniel Hart, a man nearly 20 years older than me. Daniel wasn't just wealthy, he was powerful, respected, admired. Together, we were seen as perfection itself, the elegant wife and the untouchable businessman. But what the world saw was a mask. Behind it, my life was quietly empty. Quietly unraveling in ways that no one else could see. Daniel was a good man, if goodness meant providing. He gave me a mansion that could have been mistaken for a palace, a wardrobe of designer gowns, a life of luxury where nothing material was ever out of reach. But emotionally, he was distant. His love felt like a transaction, a duty he checked off rather than a gift he offered freely. His kisses became polite gestures, like a greeting you might offer a colleague rather than a wife. His presence in our home was more like a shadow than a partner. He was always working, always consumed by his empire, always slipping away on business trips that left me alone in a house too large for one person's heart to fill. And lived in that comfort, yet I felt invisible. I remember the nights I would stand in front of the mirror, staring into my own eyes under the harsh glow of bathroom lights, wondering if the fire I once carried had completely burned out. Was I still beautiful? Did my smile still mean anything? Or had I become another decoration in Daniel's collection, like the art on our walls or the jewelry in my drawers? At 38, I felt like I was fading into the background of my own life, and then Ethan returned. Daniel's son from his first marriage. The last time I had seen him, he was just a boy and awkward, shy teenager who had barely spoken at a Christmas dinner years ago. But now, at 23, he returned, transformed. He had finished college, full of energy and uncertainty, moving back home while he figured out his next steps. I remember the first moment I saw him again. It was a summer afternoon, the kind where the sun lingers too long on the horizon. He walked into the house, tall and lean, carrying himself with a confidence that unsettled me. His jawline was sharper, his movements more deliberate, and his smile had that easy boldness that drew attention without asking for it. But what truly unsettled me wasn't his posture or his presence, it was his eyes. Warm brown, just like his father's, yet entirely different. Ethan's gaze was direct, searching, unflinching. When he looked at me, it wasn't polite or casual, the way a stepson should look at his father's wife. It wasn't familial. It was as if he could see through me, past the facade I'd worn for years, into the loneliness I'd tried so hard to hide. His eyes didn't just glance. They lingered. They peeled back layers I thought were locked away. And for the first time in years, I felt noticed at first. I told myself I was imagining it. I was lonely after all, and loneliness has a way of playing tricks on the mind. I told myself I was Daniel's wife, respectable, untouchable. And Ethan was simply a young man trying to find his place in the world. Nothing more. But then came the night that changed everything. Daniel was away, as usual, on another business trip. The house was silent, its grand hallways echoing with emptiness. I poured myself a glass of wine, put on soft music, and for the first time in months, I let myself relax. I allowed the music to carry me, moving slowly, quietly, breaking the silence with gentle rhythm. For a few minutes, I felt alive again, free. I thought I was alone in that moment, safe in my private little escape. But I wasn't. From the doorway, Ethan was watching. When I noticed him, my body froze. My glass trembled in my hand. He didn't speak. He only looked at me with that same bold intensity, and I felt exposed, caught alive in a way that terrified me. I told myself to forget it, to bury the moment deep, pretend it had never happened. But the next morning when I came down to the kitchen, there was a folded note waiting for me on the counter. With shaking hands, I opened it. "You were beautiful last night," it read. I didn't mean to watch, but I couldn't look away. My breath caught in my throat. My stomach dropped. He had seen too much, and he had admitted it. I should have gone straight to Daniel, told him everything, drawn a firm line. But instead, I stood there with the note trembling in my hands, and something inside me cracked. A part of me, a dark and shameful part, trembled with something more than fear. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as a trophy wife, not as a silent partner to a man's empire, but as a woman. In the days that followed, Ethan did not retreat. He didn't avoid me. Instead, he pursued me, not with childish games, but with quiet precision. At dinners, he chose the seat next to me instead of the other end of the table. His hand brushed mine just long enough to send a shiver through me. His gaze lingered, unflinching, when Daniel wasn't looking. Each interaction was deliberate, intentional, designed to break down the walls I had tried to build. I told myself I was strong enough to resist, that I was Daniel's wife, bound by vows and morals. But resistance began to feel like trying to hold back the tide with bare hands. Every small moment built upon the last until the weight of silence was unbearable. And then came the night when everything fell apart. I was walking down the hallway when Ethan stepped out from his room. His expression was steady, his voice quiet but sharp. He made it clear that he had seen me in ways that could not be taken back. He told me he wanted one night just one on, then it would end. His words cornered me, trapping me between fear, guilt, and something I didn't want to name. I should have shouted. I should have told Daniel. I should have done anything but what I did next. Instead of running, I froze. And in that silence, I crossed the line. What happened next was not love. It wasn't tenderness. It was a collision of loneliness, fear, and poor judgment. And when it was over, I sat on the edge of his bed, hollow and shaking, guilt wrapping around me like chains. Ethan, calm and composed, told me it wasn't over, that reminders remained. Relief curdled into dread. I realized I was untea-free. I was trapped by him, by my own choices, and by the lie I had now woven into my marriage. The days that followed were unbearable. Ethan didn't threaten me openly, but he didn't need to. His silence was louder than any words. At breakfast, he would catch my eyes for a second too long. At dinner, his hand would brush mine under the table where Daniel couldn't see. Sometimes he would smirk when Daniel asked me a simple question, as if to remind me of the secret hanging between us. I told myself I hated him, that I despised what he had done and what I had allowed. But every night, lying beside Daniel, my mind betrayed me. I remembered Ethan's eyes, the way he had looked at me as if I were alive, as if I were more than a decoration, and that betrayal of my husband, of myself, cut deeper than anything else. One evening, Daniel surprised me. He lit candles, poured our favorite wine, and played the songs we had once danced to when our love was new. For a fleeting moment, I believed we could find our way back. His touch was gentle, his eyes searching, almost pleading. He truly wanted me for the first time in years. But as his lips touched my skin, all I felt was emptiness. The part of me that had been awakened could no longer respond. My heart was fractured, stolen by a mistake I should never have made. And that is my confession. A single choice can change everything. Sometimes the cost of a mistake is not just guilt, it is a lifetime of regret. I cannot undo what I did. I cannot go back to who I was before. And every day I live with the knowledge that I destroyed the very life so many thought was perfect.